Muscles are actually a very important structure in any region because they form the basis of the locomotor system and they are responsible for causing movement at any joint. And similarly, when we talk about the posterior aspect of the thigh, we have very important muscles here, which are actually the group of muscles, hamstrings, as well as the popliteus. Talking about the hamstring group of muscles, they are very strong muscles and they're responsible for knee flexion, and along with quadriceps, they are perhaps one of the strongest muscles in the body or the strongest muscle group in the body. So talking about the hamstrings, we have the biceps femoris, semitendinosus, and semimembranosus muscles, which actually make up the hamstring group of muscles. Another very important muscle in the posterior aspect of the thigh, or which can be included in the popliteal region, is the popliteus muscle, and we are going to talk about that. Why is that so? So talking about the hamstring group of muscles, as we can see here in this picture, so here we have the semitendinosus and semimembranosus on the medial aspect of the thigh. And if we talk about the biceps femoris, it has two heads, the long head and the short head, and it is located on the lateral aspect. So here we can see now this one here is the biceps femoris short head, and here we have the biceps femoris long head. Here we have the semitendinosus, and here we have the semimembranosus. Another very important thing to note in this picture here is that we have the semitendinosus, semimembranosus, and the long head of the biceps femoris. These muscles are actually acting on both the hip joint and the knee joint. Thus, they are multi-joint muscles. But when we talk about the biceps femoris short head, we can see that it is not reaching the hip joint and it only acts as a knee flexor, whereas all of the other muscles were also acting as the hip extensor. Thus, the short head of the biceps femoris acts as a single joint muscle. So if we talk about the biceps femoris generally as a whole, we can say it is a multi-joint muscle. But when we talk specifically about the short head of the biceps femoris, then that is a single joint muscle acting only as a knee flexor. Before we move on to the different muscles that make up the hamstring group, it is very important to understand that clinically it is also very important and relevant because hamstring group of muscles are very prone to shortening, and if they are short, they can even cause conditions like genu recurvatum as well as a discrepancy in the function because of the impaired tone between the quadriceps femoris and the hamstring group of muscles. And that is why perhaps you see very commonly that even in sports and athletic activities, athletes commonly and regularly stretch their hamstrings because this is one of the muscles which is prone to get short. Now, starting off with the semimembranosus muscle, which is one of the hamstring group of muscles. So it arises from the ischial tuberosity, which is actually the site on which we sit during normal or ideal sitting posture. So it arises from the ischial tuberosity and then it moves down and then it has its insertion on the posterior surface of the medial condyle of the tibia because the semitendinosus and semimembranosus are present on the medial side and they also make up the medial margin, or we can say the medial superior margin of the popliteal fossa. As we can see in this picture here as well, that semimembranosus is actually acting on both the knee and the hip joint, so it acts as both a knee flexor as well as a hip extensor. Talking about the nerve supply of the semimembranosus muscle is via the sciatic nerve, because as we already said that sciatic nerve passes through the posterior aspect of the thigh and gives off different muscular branches, and the nerve roots for the nerve supply of the semimembranosus include L5, S1 and S2. Now, semitendinosus, talking about the semitendinosus muscle, it is pretty much similar to the semimembranosus in its function and its location, and it even shares the common origin site within which is the ischial tuberosity. and the insertion is on the anteromedial surface of the proximal tibia. So unlike the semimembranosus, the semitendinosus, when it moves down, its tendinous insertion goes forwards or anteriorly and then inserts on the anterior aspect of the proximal tibia on the medial side. Once again, because it is acting on both hip and knee joints, it is a multi-joint muscle and it is responsible for knee flexion as well as hip extension. Talking about the nerve supply is once again via the sciatic nerve, and the nerve roots are also the same, which is L5, S1 and S2. The third muscle, we have the biceps femoris, which has a short head and a long head. So talking about the origin sides, because the long head is a multi-joint muscle, so its origin is different as compared to the short head. So the long head of the biceps arises from the ischial tuberosity, similar and just the way the semitendinosus and semimembranosus also rise from the ischial tuberosity. But talking about the short head, its origin is from the lateral lip of the linea aspera, which is actually a sharp ridge on the posterior aspect of the femur, and the origin is on the fibular head, and thus that is why it is present on the lateral aspect, and it makes the superolateral margin of the popliteal fossa as well. So talking about the functions, so the long head has both the functions similar to the semitendinosus and the semimembranosus on both joints, including the hip and knee. So the long head has the function of both flexing the knee as well as extending the hip joint. But talking about the short head, it only flexes the knee. Now talking about the nerve supply, so we have the long head and the short head. So the long head is supplied by the sciatic nerve, or is innervated by the sciatic nerve, because it's similar in function to the semitendinosus and semimembranosus, and so it has the same nerve supply as well. But when we talk about the short head, it has its branches from the common peroneal nerve, which is also actually a branch of the sciatic nerve. So talking about the nerve roots for the supply or innervation of these muscles, so for both the long head and the short head, we have the same nerve roots, which is L5, S1 and S2. Now last but not the least is the popliteus muscle. Some people may not consider it as a part of the posterior thigh musculature, but I have included it here because it is very important to the function of the knee joint. And once we did talk about the function of the knee joint, and we were talking about the other flexors of the knee, so it was imperative to point it out because it is very important. The importance is that it is that in its function, because the function of popliteus is to unlock the knee joint and initiate flexion. Now if you remember, or if you focus on the knee joint, so in order for us to stand, or in order for us to completely extend the knee joint, we need to have an external rotation with extension, and that actually locks the joint, which is also known as screw arm mechanism, and that provides static stability, and the muscles do not have to work a lot, and the person can stand and bear weight on the knee joint. But in order to flex the knee joint, the tibia needs to be internally rotated with flexion, and that is the function that is actually carried out by the popliteus, and thus it is very imperative in initiating knee flexion. So the origin of the popliteus muscle includes lateral condyle of the femur, and the insertion is the posterior medial condyle of tibia. So it actually runs obliquely in its course. Talking about the action, as I already mentioned, is the initiation of knee flexion and thus the unlocking of the knee joint as well. And talking about the nerve supply, so it has a nerve supply which is slightly different from all of the others because it is supplied by the tibial nerve, and the nerve supply or the nerve root is the L4, L5 and S1. So the summary of the muscle information, all the membranosus, semitendinosus and long head of the biceps femoris have the same muscle, same innervation by the same nerve, which is the sciatic nerve, and they are innervated by the same spinal segments as well, which is L5, S1, and S2. But talking about the short head of the biceps femoris, it is supplied by the common peroneal nerve, but the segments or the spinal segments still stay the same, which is L5, S1, and S2. But talking about the popliteus muscle, it is supplied by the tibial nerve instead of the sciatic nerve, and the spinal segments are also changed, which are L5, as we already mentioned, which is the L4, L5, and S1. Now, talking about the summary of the muscle segmental innervation, as we already discussed. So, in the knee flexors, we have the popliteus, which is L4, L5, S1, and all of the rest, which are the semitendinosus, semimembranosus, and biceps femoris, which are the L5, S1, and S2. So that's pretty much about the muscles of the posterior aspect of the thigh, or the posterior compartment of the thigh, and I hope you learned something new out of it. Keep on watching sqadia.com for more lectures like this. Thank you very much.